Ladies and gentlemen and dear devotees of Shirdi Sai, I've been asked by so many devotees to talk about Shraddha. In Bombay, Steel Executive's daughter is also Shraddha. She's an MBBS MD, but I'm not going to talk about her. She's in Pune, Pune, right? Shraddha. I'm going to talk about not the Miss Faith, one of the persons I know in the group. No, she's living in Austin. I'm going to talk about faith, that is Shraddha. I was traveling last year by this time, July 19th, 18th to be precise, by Qatar Airways and the Qatar airport. I'm talking about faith, right? Qatar airport, a young lady who's Qatarian is okay, right? Qatar people are Qatarians. The Qatar Airways ground staff approached me pretty fast. The way she approached me, I knew it had something to do with Sai Ma, something to do with the Sai philosophy I'm teaching. Because it's a crowded airport amidst all the crowds, looking for the next flight and also looking for a restaurant and the flight. They shouldn't miss both. This lady came and said, "There's a very strange person, looks like an Indian, can you please go and talk?" She is refusing to get on the flight to Houston. We are in Houston, right? Yeah, to the city. And she told me, I said, "Why do you come to me? I have to come to you only. Of all the people in the airport, I found you." My doubt was getting cleared slowly. I went and met the person. When I went into the room, she was shouting at me, and the first sentence she spoke along with the agent was not shouting. That person, the apparently Indian-looking person, she could be from England or Middle East or from Bangladesh. She said, "You and your Shirdi Sai, keep your Shirdi Sai with you." First sentence. When I entered, she was about to beat me. "You and your Shirdi Sai, you both go to Dallas, Fort Worth. I don't need you." I said, "Maji, you really don't need me. I know who you are." The agent was nonplussed, a little bit bamboozled, and then she looked at me with a very queer look. I know who that agent was. "What's your name, Miss Agent?" "My name is Chaima, Chama. So I would call you Saima, would you mind?" She said, "Oh, both are the same." Saima took me around, said, "Would you like to see a restaurant? Where is your family?" I said, "You're seeing there, standing there. You dragged me into this woman who said something about you. Do you remember?" He's smiling. Customer service agent, a ground staff. The flight was getting late and therefore she took, remember, 1 year ago, green in my memory, she took me into the flight and then ground staff cannot enter a Qatar Airways jet, 737. She entered and then showed me whichever class I had booked. Nandini was traveling with me. While coming, she was not there. You didn't see Chaima. And then she said, "Please be in touch with me." I said instantly, "I'm in touch with you all the time. There is no doubt about it." And then she hugged me, I hugged her, and then by the time she was trying to find our little place inside the flight. Faith brings you Shirdi Baba in several rupas. Faith can attract Shirdi Baba unto you, your consciousness and your physical body in several ways. In Ellicott City, near a suburb of Washington, D.C., when they do a puja, when I did the puja 5 years ago, last 4 years I am not traveling, I didn't come to your home, 4.5 years, right? A big poli was there. I said, "Baba will come in any rupa." I was talking, I was lecturing, and then a big fly came and sat on the poli, ubitu, poli, whatever you call. And then it started eating, and then after eating, it pleasantly flew, took a round of me, and then came on this very huge fly. I had never seen one. So it was just traveling up and down when I was talking about Shirdi Baba. I do that, it's not leaving. A fly would leave, right? afraid of human beings. This is the boss of all human beings, creator. And he didn't leave me. When I said the one or two stories, it left again, sought the poli, and then from poli it went out. Nobody could find out. The wonderful thing about it is the puja, I left Washington DC, came back, and then 2 years, 3 years, she is doing a puja, and then every time she is visited by Vaidehi and Kumar, the names, visited by this big fly, unusually big. Even in the Amazon forest you can't find such things, right? In India, definitely no. Such is the strength of faith. Anybody showing faith, Baba will visit with you in any rupa. He'll steal your consciousness, not only your heart. Baba's faith, I saw several times. Only thing is, 1 year ago, Chaima came and saw me. I called her Saima. Several things happened in the airport, but this is important. What little I tell is important about Shirdi Baba and your faith, Shraddha. In the practice of Hinduism, as against the other religions in the world, Shraddha becomes very important. Faith is not necessarily Shraddha. Shraddha is a Sanskrit word. It means faith, reverence, respect, love, affection, kindness, dedication. So many things. I can keep on telling you all the adjectives in Oxford Dictionary. But then, faith goes under several colors. Its colors are very different. Basically, Hinduism refers to faith as something to your belief, conviction, or acceptance. The object of your faith may be anything which appeals to your values, your imagination, your inner tendencies, and then your ways of dressing, your way of talking, and your language, your desires, inner desires and expectations. Faith gets into so many things. I said you, your desires also, values also. It may be God, a religion, a person, it may be your teacher, it may be your husband, your wife, your daughter, your boss, your IT boss who is troubling you. And you will be thinking about a troubling boss all the time. If the boss doesn't trouble you, you don't think about him, right? If he doesn't trouble you. Similarly, it could be any system. You are addicted to a computer system, software system, and therefore you keep on thinking about it. That is what faith is. When reason fails and direct proof is absent, faith becomes your anchor, sheet anchor, your support. This we see in so many devotees' lives. When faith is absent, people have only two options. One option is they don't know what to do. Second option is they know what to do, call mama. My number is there around the world and they call me. Mama, what to do if faith is lacking? Right? I remember 5 years ago, 2018, 19, a gentleman wrote, who used to work for a company in Portland. No reference to anybody here in this congregation. Am I giving up the person? No. From Portland, he wrote to me that, "Dear uncle, this is my life. I don't get anything right. My faith, I don't have faith in anything in the world, anything in the system, anything in the family." He didn't write. He loves his wife and 2 kids. He said, "I don't have faith in anything. I don't have faith in nothing." Double negative. Made it so strong. To whom I didn't write because he was not noticeably one of the devotees who was writing to me emails or texting. Whereas this Portland person, she used to write to me from 2014 in November. She used to write to me, this is a continuous story on Shraddha, faith. How could a human being develop faith? Is it too strong? No? Might. How can you go ahead and then try to re-establish your faith? This story of his wife is outstanding in every sense of the word. I'm going to talk about this particular person who sought refuge from Portland into one of the southern Bible Belt cities. She's currently living in a Bible Belt city, in a big city like Houston. And she has been in touch with, and I see from 2015, her faith is growing by leaps and bounds. She is in touch with me through emails regularly. I see she is growing. The high school kids will say wrong pronunciation, growing. I tried to follow American English, but I was born in Bharat, India. Been living here for a very long time, so. This person, I told you, is a classic example of Shraddha. But then before that, let me tell you certain other things about faith. I told you when reason fails, faith becomes your sheet anchor, your support. In any job that you are doing, sometimes your reason fails. That problem, somebody dealing in the software is posed a question about hardware because their headquarters is in India. Sometimes parts management becomes a big part of their life and a big part of their problem, parts management. Sometimes 2-3 people, put their brains together, but then there is one brain in your world headquarters that puts away all these brains. These things are very common in the IT world, in the manufacturing world. These people lose reason because somebody is trying to control them, somebody is trying to control your manufacturing, your software. It is very difficult to have a very difficult boss, how to live with, difficult people, how to work with difficult people. So, when these things define a particular personality, it's very difficult to find a reason. But then, our Upanishads and our Vedas say we cannot live without faith. Just now uncle is saying you can find very difficult people. How do they live? How do they put you to lots of tests? You have headquarters somewhere. There is an Austin devotee who is controlling the teams in UK, England, Holland, European team, and then the team in Austin. And as if these things are enough, the team in India, Bangalore. The city of potholes, where a political drama took place some time ago. You cannot live without faith. Even the people who are doing the political drama, they had faith. Somebody shows faith in Congress party, one of the parties in India. Somebody shows in the People's Party, which is BJP, Bharatiya Janata Party, nothing but India's People's Party. So these two people are having a huge crowd, having faith in these leaders. Some leader of the Congress party has faith in all that he says. He believes in all his actions, that faith is guiding my actions. The other day, he was seen in Washington, D.C., and in another 4 days, India's Prime Minister will be in D.C., meeting the press club. It's a very famous club. All the visiting dignitaries go there. So Mr. Narendra Modi is speaking, taking questions, volleys of questions, very, very intelligent. That press club questions will be very tough. Mr. Modi is looking around. It's yet to happen, future. In 4 days, 22nd, right? Today is not 22nd, 17th. So he's looking around. He suddenly looks at a person that, it seems to me you are very familiar. Who are you? Are you not Mr. Rahul Gandhi? The person says, I don't know. I may be Rahul Gandhi or maybe Bionic Gandhi or look-alike Rahul Gandhi. He's sitting there and then Mr. Prime Minister turns around and talks to one of the officials of White House, Chief of Staff or Deputy Chief of Staff. How did he get into this meeting? He whispers into the ears of Sri Modi that He has been here for a very long time. He met with the president yesterday, before you did. I introduced a lot of faith here. Americans have faith. Mr. Gandhi, this hasn't taken place. I'm talking about future. But you have seen in one of the buildings of the White House or Defense Department, the TVs were all very interesting coverage. They all act in faith. Therefore, I say we cannot act without it. Atheists, scientists, politicians, rationalists, and irrationalists, all these people act out of faith. They believe in their methodology, in their assumptions. You come to the Dwarakamayi Puja because you have faith in the Dwarakamayi. Maybe you work with our friend, right? Mr. Kakumani, Deepu, I'll say, right? You work with Deepu's wife in their company. Therefore, they're the bosses. Therefore, you come to satisfy the bosses. Sometimes, you yourself come because you have faith in uncle. You have faith in this uncle. This uncle, whatever he says, will happen. This uncle has predicted even Chinese intrusions into India. That is not yet taken place, but I know the year and month and date and time. So this uncle, I have faith in this uncle, and therefore that faith produces all these answers. Chinese aggression, I am not talking about India's Prime Minister. Chinese aggression, even Mr. Amit Shah doesn't know the date. I'll proudly call him the future Prime Minister of that country. Okay. Nobody knows. From 1981, I've been warning people in India and in the United States this is going to happen. I don't have any information. I don't work for the intelligence of either country. I am just a, religious teacher. I just meet with people and then in his name I try to work. I have enormous faith in this big uncle in the photograph. So, faith started like this. This is faith, this is religious faith. I am talking about religious faith. In many parts of the world, the alternate word for faith is religion. What faith you belong to in this country, they ask you, right? Judaism, Christianity, Seventh-day Adventist, right? So many divisions and bifurcations of Christianity. All of them have one faith, right? The Son of Father or the Father himself. So these things, Judeo-Christian religions are even predominantly faith-based. There are so many ministries like Joe Austin and others you listen to. So, when you have faith, you accept uncle, you accept the small chota uncle at face value. When you accept your boss, you don't know anything about your bosses elsewhere on the globe. You accept them at face value. Very important point. At face value, you have to accept. When you marry, you accept your husband or your wife at their face value. You know very little about your boss under whom you are going to work. You know very little about the husband who is going to be your spouse for a lifetime. Right? Hopefully. These days things are very different. Faith is a very elusive thing. It gives you certitude, definitude in an uncertain and complex world. Faith alone you should have at work in married life. If you have faith, these complexities of this very uncertain world will be removed, and then he will also appear to be real. Because some of the people have faith on Shirdi Baba, and it is falsity. It is a false faith. I have so many stories on such false faith. In this country, bad news first, right? That's a very bad omen. People go there, doctors tell you bad news first. Your pancreas is misbehaving. You'll have an A1C of 7.7. That is the new threshold as doctors would confirm. 7.1, all gone. 7.7 and above, as JAMA confirms, is a threshold. You are not type 2. People have lots of things. Mama, how do you say these things? I said, go to Jama. Mama, what is Jama? Talk to Dr. Sushma. She will explain. Dr. Venkat, he will explain. If it gets very PhD-like, go to Gita or Aparnaji. Or even if they can't explain, go to this comets in UTD in our area. These comets are UTD students, freshmen, sophomore. They explain the brain very well, just like doctors. They are not even read biology completely. They explain. Why? These things are possible because of faith, faith. My daughter has been doing, along with the other girl sitting next, doing Dwarakamayi Puja from the day they were born, from the day 3, 8. They know more about Shirdi Baba than me. They can come and lecture. Their English will not have all this nail-biting, tough words. They will be in simple in English, but then they will talk straight. Right? Shoot from the hip, kind of thing. Therefore, faith, coming back again and again to faith, how does it remove uncertainty in this complex world? It is very difficult. A couple in Austin come to my attention immediately. 5 months or 2 years or 1 year into her life in Austin, in the United States, her husband is saying something not very agreeable. This could happen every day in every married life, every marriage. She calls 911. She doesn't even know is it 911 or 999. On the highway it says, any problem call 999. Am I right? You never called, therefore you don't know. In Texas DFW you call 999 for a highway problem with your car. So she called 911 and the cops came and they took only 5 minutes to arrest the husband. The husband was even to where incarcerated immediately. And the reality started dawning on the wife, who is just 5-6 months in this country. She didn't even know the significance of 911. A young child and the husband behind bars. She didn't know. Her status itself is questionable. This person didn't know. He came to me and then I said, your faith is lacking. I instantly said, Mama, what is faith? Shraddha. I don't know what it is. Have you ever known Shirdi Baba? There is a temple in Austin. Go and find out. The husband came to me and said, appealed, Mama, please save us. I said, tell your wife, before calling 911, you should consult with the husband, even if she's complaining about you. It is a very classic long story. The final one sentence will be extraordinarily absorbing. Grand jury, lawyers, defense lawyer, defense attorney, and then the female judge in Austin. Between that 6 months have passed. All the 6 months he was in touch with me and another person, and attorneys were arranged within Austin. And the judge comes and gives a lengthy lecture on Hinduism, faith. Oh my God, I heard the lecture content. I was not in the court. And she calls that lady and said, without knowing anything, you don't complain about husband. Do you know IT is managed by 67% of the IT people in this country are from India. Without Indians, the IT business will stop, will perish, will crumble. She said that. It's such a hoary tradition. India, they're all coming from India. This culture is known to me, and therefore, told the district attorney and the other opposing attorney, I dismissed the case. It followed every word of this little fellow, little uncle, under the umbrella of this big uncle. I had told your case will be dismissed. Nobody believed. And then said, Mama, how did the case dismissed? Faith, I didn't give this lecture. He is probably listening to this. I said one thing though. This uncle believes in Shirdi Baba. One reason, this is not appealing to you. Second reason is not true. The judge who dismissed the case knows me very well and she is in touch with me about the case. No, that's not true. So on Indian traditions, on traditions of faith, An American judge dismissed a case and you both can go home. And no advice was given to the husband. 1 year later, they have one more child. Indication that they are okay in married life. They're very young. He's 32, 33, and she's perhaps 26. And then the problem shows its ugly head once again, and they are back to square one. I said, come to the puja. This puja you should be attending in Austin. Otherwise, the ugly head of all this marriage going up the wall will happen again. When you have faith, you accept the object at your face value. Sometimes in life you have to accept your husband at face value, which is what I taught her. And then, Shraddha also means several other things. Factors to achieve success, peace and happiness in your life, according to Upanishads, 3 Upanishads. I'll come to the stories. You need faith, that's the first one. Second one factor is bhayam, fear. Fear coupled with awesome qualities of God, awesome qualities of some people at work, persons, and then bhakti. These 3 factors, in order to achieve faith in human beings, in your husband, in your God, you need these 3. Again, faith. To achieve faith, you should have faith. That's why I'm going to redefine faith. It's going to be a little boring until I reach the story in 5 minutes. Bhayam. You should be afraid of gods and goddesses. Don't be afraid of uncle. I'm accessible. Not 24 hours. 9:30 to 4:30. There are people who know me very well will call me at 8:45 p.m. I attend their calls. There are people who will call me exactly at 1:30 when I am, what? Little bit of lunch I want to eat to keep the body and soul together. They call me. I take the call, much to the chagrin of my wife. She says, don't take the call. If I don't take the call, I'll be the loser. Because that particular devotee is paying me dakshina. That's the humor. I think there are some instructions that you shouldn't smile for humor. Did you give any instructions? There are some humor in my satsang. Don't think Sai Murari is the only, capitalist who holds all the humor, late night comedy. There are so much of humor. Unless I tell the humor, people won't understand faith. In the courtroom also there is a humor from the judge. I didn't tell you. That will take a long time for you to understand. So, faith is considered to be the reflection based on faith, bhayam and bhakti. It is also considered to be a reflection of essential part of your nature. What else? Choice, inherent qualities, and most dreadful thing, karma. Your karma decides your faith. This is perhaps the most important, most difficult constituent of faith. When you are developing faith, your karma, about which I spoke 1 hour and 10 minutes, 3rd Saturday last month. Karma engineering, do you remember? I spoke. Sanchita karma. Nobody asked me, how come Lord Shiva takes Sanchita karma and makes it into prarabdha karma? How much of portion? Some people, 2 persons wrote to me in email, Mama, karma engineering you have to explain further. Okay, 10 years from now, part 2 of that lecture will appear. Because I understand only tip of an iceberg. Karma engineering is very difficult. Some people have attempted essays and books. They explain everything from a human point of view, but then they don't explain how Lord Shiva handles the karma, handles the soul. When you are dead, the soul goes away. How much of karma when the soul is given and the soul cannot choose a body? The calf example I gave last in Nandakushoreji's home last week, right? Calf. Soul cannot find its body. Depending on the karma, from the Sanchita karma given by Lord, chosen by the Bhagadaranyaka and Kamada, all the Upanishads say that Lord Shiva ultimately gives. In the Nayanmars, the 4 top ones say that it is Shiva who is apportioning all this karma. So all those people who are lucky in getting tremendous promotions are enjoying their good karma. They perhaps went through bad karma. That is why the husband wrote from Portland, I don't seem to have any faith at all. But then since he didn't follow up how to develop more faith, how to get to the faith of my wife, all these questions appeared to him, but he was probably had a bayam for uncle. I'm not a Texas Longhorn. Some people approach me very, very fearfully. I'm no Longhorn. All that you need to approach me is have nothing, open mind and ask me questions. And sky is not the limit. You can ask me any question. I encourage youngsters to ask me any question. And therefore, faith, how many of you have pratyaksha, which is called a direct experience? How many of you have seen Shirdi Baba directly? How many of you have been blessed with Sri Charana? How many of you have seen Sumati Maharani? I don't think any of you have seen even Shirdi Baba, except perhaps this speaker. I've seen him several times from the childhood, several times, lost count. My mother could not say. Every day we used to meet Shirdi Baba, the fakir. So this is called a direct experience. Circumstantial evidence and inference is called anumana. First one is pratyaksha. Second one is anumana. On your anumanam, in Tamil word and Telugu word, how much can you really know what you are saying is right? Is your bhakti correct? So that you lead to a correct faith, shraddha. You don't know. The first two things, pratyaksha and anumana, which lead to your faith formation, is very difficult. Is not at all possible. The third one, validation from the statements of scriptures and sadgurus. That is possible. Validation from scriptures, you read all these books. Guru Charitra, you read Charitamrita. So you get validation. Or elderly people who have seen some of these people. There are people who have seen Ambal in this world, though you can count them. So, Hinduism, it teaches scriptural knowledge, which you can depend on. That's called validation. Sadgurus like Shirdi Baba, Narasimha Saraswati and Sri Sripada Srivallabha, Akalkot Maharaj and so many, 4 or 5. You can depend on their teachings. You can depend on their books. I can't see you because of the light. That's all right. So, you must have faith to follow. Faith in a guru or a spiritual teacher is extremely important. I tell you this because Shirdi Baba and 3 others were lost in the jungle. When they are lost in the jungle, a Vanjari comes. He says, you got your stomach. You should have food in the belly. They are empty. So don't take up this hard task of finding the Guru with an empty stomach. All the 3 ignore and accept Shirdi Baba. The 4 were going. This is a story in Satcharita. When the 4 were going, Shirdi Baba takes. The second time Manjari comes and all the 3 are leaving. Who is this? Who is this idiot? Ignoramus. So Shirdi Baba didn't say that. He does a namaskar. And there appears Vanjari. In the place of Vanjari, his Guru appears. Satcharita doesn't say it is Venkusa or somebody else. Guru appears and then he takes and then puts Shirdi Baba upside down in a well. And after about 2 hours, though going to take a bath, he comes and says, how was the experience? Oh, such a blissful was the experience, I cannot explain. That is faith in the Guru. That is one of the requisites according to Vedas and Upanishads. Therefore, I told you all this basis for your faith. All these days, if you read books, it's okay, you will find faith is very tough to develop. It's not the faith you have in your husband or in your wife, in your children, in your boss. I told you all of them. It is a faith you develop in a Sadguru. They are considered above gods. They are considered above gods, I'll repeat so many times. The gods themselves have given some qualities, enviable qualities to these Sadgurus. I have found out in my personal life several of them because I have met with Shirdi Baba. Having met with Shirdi Baba, I know how many qualities these Sadgurus have. It's very difficult even to meet with Shirdi Baba, much less talk. So when I was speaking in Mumbai once with Shirdi Baba, he was sitting in a Udupi restaurant from the airport. He was lifting my international baggage just like this, touching, and it comes up. I saw that. And then he gets into this thing. I was at the back seat behind the driver, and Shirdi Baba's back, I know the cloth that it ties in that fashion, exactly the thing. And then I asked him questions, several questions were from Shirdi Baba. I asked him directly, may I know you, sir? He spoke beautiful English, Hindi. He chose those two languages. He knows that I know these two languages. We went to a Udupi restaurant, and before ordering, the person comes with the ordered stuff. And I am looking at him. Across the table, there is a Shirdi Baba calendar. I am looking at the calendar, I am looking at Shirdi Baba, and it's very amusing. He is smiling. This is the Dwarakamayi Baba. I have seen him once like him, like he's in the picture. Several experiences. Because for the last several generations, another factor of faith, you must be associated with some divine Sadguru. Otherwise, faith cannot be developed that easily. This could be one janma where you have begun, or it could be the 11th or 9th birth where you are coming to Shirdi Baba, and therefore next birth. There is one person here, he will be a Maharishi. Right? He is sitting here, I know. So he just missed it by 1 nanosecond or 1 femtosecond, if you will. Missed it. So next janma he will be. He prefers silence. He wants to look at everybody in silence, including me. When he comes to see me, he won't talk. I'll end up talking. My wife says, why do you talk? No, in the next birth he is going to be a Maharishi. But in this birth is what matters to you. She doesn't get angry. He doesn't talk. Such people have found in silence faith. Faith, that is where faith talks loud. He's here in this congregation, sitting and listening. We have had several conversations. Ammaji knows. Why I brought him into the picture is, the last point before I go to the stories is 3 types of faith, namely Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic. Sattvic people are the ones who don't eat hot food. Impure Tamasic people, Rajasic people are mixed. These Tamasic people, they won't believe in anything. They will go to all the restaurants and ask for spicy food. They will always do impure things. In a puja, they will start questioning Shirdi Baba, and their thoughts and actions will be based on impure imagination, impure soul. So everything is impure, that is tamasic people. The mixed people will have enormous ego. Their ego cannot be controlled. They will always try to command over other people. Like your bosses, right, sometimes. They are not Rajasic, but Rajasic people are mixed people, Sattvic and Tamasic. When the Sattvic qualities come up, your boss becomes very nice. You can invite him for a cup of tea. You have to find out when they are going through Sattvic qualities. That's very difficult because he is your boss. So these 3 qualities forms the basis for faith. The Upanishads say so many things. I'll stop here about Upanishads. I can't go into that. The Portland gentleman. Everybody will be thinking, some of you have lived in Portland. I just chose a city. They actually didn't live in Portland. They were in the West Coast. I just like some devotees in Portland. And therefore, in 2015, they said, Mama, I want to come to the Bible city, Bible Belt, a city. And I don't know whether I chose this city properly. Why did I choose this Atlanta? Why did I choose North Carolina? She was in one of the Bible's southern city, and she's very distraught at the behavior of some of the bosses. I'm doing very hard work. Look at that. The beginning of the journey of faith would start like this. Today she is a grandiloquent example for faith, capital letters, uppercase, F-A-I-T-H. But then in the beginning, I'll call it August 2015, she had a lot of doubt. Why did I come here? My friends are all not teaching me properly. I work very hard, but then my bosses are presuming I'm very ignorant and threatened by my peers and friends. I'm not speaking my mind because I'm afraid. I'm afraid I would be blamed by the bosses, blamed by my neighbors. So I am just keeping quiet. It is tough to get into conversations because people point a finger at me. I'm in the dark all the time. This is a real-time devotee. And she is saying all that because she is developing enormous faith. She knows Shirdi Baba very well. Sai is testing me. Shirdi Baba is testing me even at the bare beginning of 6:35 as just an expressway. It is like entering an expressway without a brake. Unless your software has a brake in your cell phone. I don't know, you may have. You just press a button, a brake will come. You just bang it, car will stop. Because software and cell phones growth is enormous. In 2016, I am trying to follow this particular devotee. She says, Uncle, all these things I told you, I couldn't talk with you because in those days, 8-9 years ago, Uncle, I want to do 11 Dwarakamayi Pujas, successive 11 Dwarakamayi Puja. I said she was one of the first persons among the devotee circle to do 11 Dwarakamayi Puja. I said, okay. So she would do the Dwarakamayi Puja, 11 Puja, starting from 328, going up to 427, 47, sorry, that is 11 days. She did the 11 pujas, sitting in a southern city, Bible city of Atlanta. She is doing all these pujas and then faith, on the road of faith, she gets a brake in the vehicle. She is very happy. She is still unaware of the brakes and then she is driving with trembling and with trepidation that if hail comes, what will I do? If rain comes, I can't even see. There is fog in Texas. 11 consecutive days she starts. She gets 11 pictures. I sent her the 11 pictures. And then I told you her faith is increasing after the 11 pujas. She emailed me saying that, Mama, I completed the 11 puja last month. We invited some devotees in Atlanta to attend the puja. And there were about 35 devotees. Is something okay? Everything okay? Some people came. I borrowed a big picture until you said I borrowed a picture from one of the devotees in where she was living, Atlanta. And then my daughter and son are singing. My daughter and son are singing in our home during this puja. After the 11th puja, her faith is increased. I see signs on the highway that the highway becomes, from being pretty rough, becomes fairly smooth. And then she says, Mama, thank you very much. 35 devotees turned up for this puja. And then I was very happy, 2016, March. And then she keeps on having high hopes. Her bosses, everybody is doing okay. But then in 2017, she's saying in 2016 in an email, Mama, my faith is increasing and then I want to visit Shirdi next year, which is 2017. Before going, my company is not going nowhere, not going anywhere. And then I would like to get a different job. 2016, she is outgrowing the company. I understood her very well because I myself outgrew a bank in India. That's why I left the bank. Most of my colleagues said this is a princely job. You get a princely salary. In those days, 5,500 take-home salary. When a PW engineer used to get only 2,000. A bank clerk used to get 4,000. So I did leave the job because when you grow at a faster pace, which she was experiencing, when faith increases, it is a reflection in the work. It will reflect in your work that you will be doing an extraordinary job. Your bosses, everybody will show envy. They will say, this lady, this gentleman is doing extraordinary work, and therefore she is looking for other jobs. My current job is very good, but then I am not going to be there. And then she says, Mama, I am talking with you. And then today it was announced, 2016, that our group will be dissolved. My group will be dissolved and therefore I have to perforce seek another job. My group is getting dissolved. I'm taking you back to 2016. which is June, her group did get dissolved. And then when the group got dissolved, before that, some other man, because she is very efficient, because she has found the basement, she has the basement, not basement, the foundation of faith in Shirdi Baba. Shirdi Baba becoming the anchor person. Shirdi Baba is already driving her vehicle, her life. And therefore, she doesn't mind telling, she tells me all the very innocent thoughts, extremely difficult thoughts she tells me in beautiful English. She says, Mama, I want another Baba miracle. I want another Baba miracle, Mama, because my group is dissolved. And when she said it in June 2016, she met with her team manager, and the team manager said, in the first round of interview, because she is a very intelligent person, she is very, it's very evident that she has lots of self-confidence. She did the first round extremely well. There were 4 rounds. She met with recently 5 rounds. She got selected in the first round. She is very hopeful. She wrote to me that she will land the job. She started writing to me, Om Shri Dwarakamayi Mama. This is really very nice. And I started calling her, and I started replying to most of her emails. And then in one of the emails, when her faith was growing, outstanding faith, she said, Mama, I applied for 3 jobs. All the 3 jobs are for internal transfers within the company I am working. And then sometimes I may be in Atlanta, I may be in North Carolina. My managers are in New Jersey. His New Jersey managers. He himself is a manager in New Jersey. And she says, if I am hired, I will be working from Atlanta for these managers, which may cause 25% travel. All IT people travel 10 days a month or 5 days a month. So she applied for new positions, and then what happened? She was next email. Within a week she said, Mama, I am delighted to inform you that I am hired in my very city of Atlanta. I am very happy to tell you that my manager confirmed this thing, and I am very comfortable with this manager. But then the faith in you, in whatever role you are playing, will keep on growing. If you are in the IT department, if you are in a children's hospital, you are a leader, a doctor who leads a particular reorganization or the technology, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years you will get bored. You may be having an MD, maybe some other this thing, some other higher degrees, super specialization, which doctors know. Endocrinology, right? If you are in internal medicine. And endocrinology, you will go into particular one, pituitary gland. Is the only expert on the planet on pituitary gland, right? I know all the values of TCH. I'm sorry, TCH is TSH, I'm sorry, Dr. Sashma. Thyroid stimulating hormone. Am I right? TSH. So somebody will be an expert on TSH. And then of the THS, T4 is also called T4. Am I right? T4. Well, at some point, if you are working in some other area, they say, I don't know. Therefore, she is outgrowing the job once again. Look, I am defining faith with an outstanding example in front of you. Maybe in some other city she is living. She says, Mama, I am going to apply for a very big position in 2016. That position is a global position. It is a global technology program leader. Global technology. She was local all the time, dealing with the United States. Now suddenly she becomes a global technology. Some people who work for global offices, global presence, with Mumbai as the headquarters, like Nandini ji and Sri Padamji, Sri Padamnath, works for an international group. You may have your headquarters in Holland, India, or even in China, right? They're very good in manufacturing things, and you may have a Chinese boss. One of the CEOs in Houston left the job and worked for a Chinese company. He had to learn Chinese. He knew everything else. He thought he knew everything. He started learning Chinese. Otherwise, he would bring all the people from the former company into that Chinese company. That was not possible. He was still a CEO. Global technology program leader. She has to go through lots of challenging situation. She was very well equipped. She was very well equipped, and therefore she went and met with all the challenges. When she is dealing with all the challenges, her husband who wrote to me, I know nothing about what? Nothing about what? Faith. I don't have faith. I have nothing about faith. Because when your spouse is showing so much of faith, Baba will take care of your spouse also, your husband or your wife. So, he got a job in a very big international company. He got a job and then he didn't know whether he has to move, and the wife is in Atlanta or North Carolina and Southern, right? And then suddenly he has to go and get a big job in Portland or Fremont or Kiefer, all in California, right? Next to Portland. It was very difficult for him to judge. When it becomes very difficult, he says, the offer itself is a gift from the Lord, God, Shirdi Baba. And then, I don't know whether I can just sing. My spouse is working in Atlanta, therefore I would like to remain in Atlanta. In the meantime, to add some spice to her email, this devotee said, for a Dwarakamayi Puja, I cooked eggplant curry. She wrote in the email, this is a yummy, yummy eggplant curry. And when I read that, I knew she took some lessons from Sapna Garu. Because in my opinion, Sapna, who is here, she's sitting there on the wall, across the wall, yeah. She makes very good, yummiest of eggplant curry. When I went through this email, I thought, okay, Sapna probably learned from this devotee to make this yummy curry. That was a very good spice when you have faith. When you are developing good faith, she is turning everybody's attention to eggplant curry, and she makes very good eggplant curry. But then she also started paying a good dakshina. I never asked her to pay dakshina. Dakshina is paid by the person depending on their faith in big uncle. They pay the small uncle, a small amount. She started paying. And then when you pay dakshina, uncle always says to those who pay dakshina, you will be taken care of by this big uncle. I am taking care, I am offering solutions, but these solutions come from the big uncle in the picture. Definitely. I know nothing about all these things. Like the husband of this devotee said, I know nothing about faith. I know nothing, but I know him very well. I have seen him, I have spoken to him. Therefore, he always gives. And this dakshina I started receiving. I told you dakshina produces excellent results. This person became very popular. But then there was a boss living far away from her city, southern city of Atlanta, trying to give her pinpricks. There is a boss, a female devotee, a female manager, was trying to give problems to this particular devotee. She brought this person, difficult person, to my attention. I said, certain things are going to happen. In the dictionary, in the lexicon of your destiny, these things are going to happen. She will be transferred, she will find a new job. It sure did happen. She found greener pastures, she left. But then while leaving, this devotee is becoming the cynosure of all eyes, and therefore in her company, the whole Atlanta's company is abuzz with this person's work. Very high quality, and therefore when that person, the manipulator, she called in the email, the manipulator left, software engineer, she says very nice words. This devotee says, she was manipulating me. She was trying to leave some soft complaint with my managers. She said that. And I was surprised the way she coins her English. She writes beautiful emails. I don't have any doubt about that. And then finally, the husband was dangling between Fremont and Portland. She is settling down in Atlanta. And therefore, she gets a promotion. While going through all these things, her Shraddha is increasing. She got a promotion. From January 2017, the miracle she explained in the email is, Uncle, you told me my promotion will be predated. and her promotion was backdated. They paid her all the money. Such things do happen when you develop pure faith, Shraddha. I took this devotee as an example because there are many people like her. There's hardly anybody who continuously believes in Shirdi Baba. There's hardly anybody who continuously grows in the echelons of faith. There is nobody who keeps in touch with me like this devotee and her husband have been doing. And therefore, I chose this story. Several things she went through, but then she is always outgrowing her job. Recently, she told me 1 year ago, said, "Uncle, I am doing an excellent job and they are not paying me enough. My people have become very friendly, my neighborhood, everybody is friendly. Me and my husband are very, loving of each other. I have lovely children, 2 children, and still I have a problem. All neighbors, everybody is okay. Still I have a problem, uncle." "What is the problem, my dear devotee?" She says, "My father-in-law, father-in-law and mother-in-law visit me, and then I arrange a lot of money, big tour around the United States. They come back, they always point a finger at me because this chutney is wrong, that ragi idli is wrong, you should have more ragi." This devotee is very advanced. She understands everybody. She also understands, seen the movie Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahuti. But then she started telling the Saas, looked at Bahu, and then she was trying to burn her. But this is Shakti, Shraddha, right? Faith devotee. So she has a lot of faith in the uncle, a lot of faith in mother-in-law, father-in-law both. But they were complaining for a long time. The husband's intervention didn't work much. The husband did intervene in her favor, but then it didn't work. Finally, that was also solved. The neighbor solved. Parents-in-law solved. The very tough devotee resigned and went to another company. Her faith didn't sublimate. All these things did not reduce her faith. She keeps on growing. Finally, she applies for a typical global job. If you apply for Google, she didn't apply for Google. You have to go through 5 interviews. The last interview is with Sundar Pai, aka Sundar Pichai. He's the CEO, right? Alphabet or Google, whatever you call. Very powerful man. But if you look at him, what are you, Mr. Sundar Pichai? He's so simple. Speaks very powerfully. You should have seen his congressional hearings. Very powerful, but very simple. There are lots of stories on him also, very real stories about interviews of devotees. I'm not getting into that. This devotee got into a huge platform. She wanted to fly. Because I said that to her, sky is not the limit. She was flying through the cloud. She found cloud platforms. She applied cloud platform. She is now into the cloud. Her faith is giving her a very decent salary. If somebody is making, say Mihikaji is making 129, this devotee I'm talking about will be making 3 to 4 times your salary. Usually only CEOs make that thing, but then the CEO bonus will be running into millions. And this devotee is a potential CEO. She is already in the cloud, but standing on the soil, she decides. In Satcharita, do you find such devotees? Of course, there is always a Mrs. Manager. I am taking you far back into the 18th, 19th century now from 2013. I came up to 2013, 2012, 2023, 2022. I finished that story. There's so much to talk about this devotee. I can talk until 10 p.m. Most of you will go to the Peruganna and Kesari. You won't listen to me. Therefore, I am shifting to Jaikar. Jaikar's faith. All of you know who is Jaikar, right? All of you know. Most of you know. Jaikar is a person who is like Shankar Bhatt in Charitamrtam. Shankar Bhatt became Subbaya. His head was shaken. Somebody could, Mantravadi came and, relation to Uma Mantravadi and Prasad Mantravadi. One Mantravadi came, that's a Telugu word, I think, right? Came and sent nails on his head. Shankar Bhatt, the hero of your Charita Amrutam. We are far away from the current devotee. Okay? Don't forget her, you won't be able to. But Shankar Bhatt was treated 7.5 years of Shani. Shirdi Baba, Shirdi Baba's predecessor. Sri Sripada Sri Vallabha said in 7.5 days he will be all right. So he went through all these things in 7.5 days. Another time he was going towards Kuruvapuram, he has to end up in a cobbler's home. In a cobbler's home, he was trying to, mesmerize him. He was also doing head surgery. He's a head cobbler. Lots of crows came and pecked on his head. Blood was oozing out. Snakes came and bit him. That's Charitamrutam, the story of Shankar Bhatt. He's my hero in Charita. The second hero. The first hero is, of course, Sripad Sri Vallabha, Sri Charana. When Shankar Bhatt went through all these things, he often says, I have faith in Sri Charana. I have faith in Sripad Sri Vallabha, right? I went to Kuruvapuram to see him. I went to Marudamalai in Coimbatore to see him. That's where he comes and meets with the tiger, right? Tiger he meets with that. And when tiger he sees, he suddenly turns into a Siddhamuni and then flies into the heaven, into the clouds. All these things was possible in 13th, 14th century for Shankar Bhatt. And our Jayakar, he used to be a very great devotee. But then unless you get experiences of Shirdi Baba, you cannot become a great faithful devotee. He used to go to 1916, 17, Shirdi Baba used to go. And he used to stay with Shirdi with several people. He never had a job, he had only painting, he knew only painting. So he used to paint all the streets, the sunflowers, and sometimes Mrs. Manager, sometimes devotees, and they all used to pay him. The devotees of Shirdi Baba are very rich, right? Except perhaps Mahalsapati and Shama. Therefore, this painter, he was getting very close to Shirdi Baba. And he was a boy of only 16. He was a brahmachari. Shiva mantra and other Shakti mantra were given to him by some other guru. When he went to Shirdi, he said he had a big confusion. Can I stay with the mantra given to me when I was 14, 15, 16, or come back to Shirdi Baba? He asked Shirdi Baba, can you give me a mantra? Shirdi Baba, pat comes the reply, I am not here to give you any mantra. Go back to your original guru. So he was a little confused because he came there and the biggest of famous people like Dikshit and Shama and others. And therefore he didn't know what to do. He wanted to go to Radhakrishna, but then he didn't want to go to Radhakrishna. And suddenly when he was in Shirdi, in the Dwarakamayi, Nanavali, another great devotee, a dangerous devotee according to Shama Jayakar, he came and hit him. Nanavali can take any shape. He can take into a, these siddhis. Do you know these siddhis? You can become a small point, right? Anima siddhi, Mahima and Anima siddhi. So Nanavali had all these things. And therefore, Nanavali used to take a, nihilistic small point and then hit him. He couldn't take it, so he went to Shirdi Baba. And Shirdi Baba started teaching him several things about Nanavali and then his philosophy. And while teaching, he told Jayakar, the walls of my Dwarakamayi are laid in gold. The walls of my Dwarakamayi are gold. But I am regretfully telling you, Shama, that is Jayakar, that nobody wants this treasure. Everybody wants a good wife. Everybody wants a good home in Bandra, Mumbai. Everybody wants to be deputy collector like, Chandorkar. Nobody wants this treasure. My walls are made of gold. So Baba expressed this desire. He told Narasimha Swamiji, 18th September 1936, in an interview. Jayakar spoke. And then, how did he paint the picture? His faith was at the lowest ebb, I told you. And his faith was growing. When the faith was growing, he started meeting Shirdi Baba and the great devotees like M.B. Pradhan. Pradhan wanted 2 oil paintings of Shirdi Sai. When Pradhan told him, Pradhan was a very big judge from Nagpur, and therefore he was held in awe even by the then rulers, the British people, and everybody respected him. And therefore M.B. Pradhan wanted 2 oil paintings. He started painting, but then he couldn't look at Shirdi Baba properly. He told Shama. Shama said, you come there at a particular time after lunch. You will come there, everybody will go home for lunch. At that time, Baba will oblige you with this picture, which is face. But then Baba gave Udi and then said, go. That night, while sleeping, Shirdi Baba appeared and then turned around slowly to show Jayakar. And in the dream, Jayakar drew 3 pictures. That is the 2 pictures that went to. Do you know where the 2 pictures are and the 1 picture? He drew a 4th picture. That is the picture you currently see in the Dwarakamayi in Shirdi. The first 2 pictures went to Rao Bahadur, M.B. Pradhan. He took and the 3rd one was left with Dikshit. So the 4 pictures were counted for, and all the pictures are crumbling these days, except the one in Dwarakamayi. When his Shraddha was growing, he had several beautiful experiences. He wanted to make a small silver paduka for Shirdi Baba. This is a big story, I'll tell in 3 sentences. He made a small Dwaraka in Nanded, and then, in a city, Mumbai, and then took a very small one, only this big, 2 inches, and then gave it to Shirdi Baba. At that point, Shirdi Baba touched it and then he left it. It fell down from his hands on the floor of Dwarakamayi. When Baba does something, there is always a meaning. When it slipped down from Shirdi Baba's hands, Jayakar thought it's an ill omen, it's not really good that my padukas, I want to worship the paduka. So he didn't know what to do, and he took the padukas and put it in the shirt and got the udi and left. Next day morning, he sent the shirt to the washerman, and when the shirt came back, the padukas are missing. When Shirdi Baba wants certain things, he does it. When Shirdi Baba wants your daughter to go to IT, you cannot go to Baylor Medical School, right? Neither come to the Southwestern Medical School in DFW. Baba wants certain things in your lives. That again depends on the faith. That is where these connections are established. Very inequitable connections, I would say, between Shirdi Baba and you that forms the backdrop of your Shraddha. The silver padukas he never got back, and he could not complain to Shirdi Baba because it fell down from his hand. Even in the dream, Baba comes. A famous devotee here, several miracles in Nandini's home, Baba does. Without connecting to electric, wiring junctions, the light comes off and then on and off several times. When she looks at it, it is on. And then when she turns on, it's off. And then the mala, the chain, it is dancing on its own in her home. She has seen it several times. She sends me an email. How does these things happen? These things happen because the faith you have, it sounds very simple. But then, Jayakar gave 4,000 rupees to an old Muslim lady, Parda lady. And then she didn't return it properly. Look at his faith. His faith in Shirdi Baba, he had plenty. It's developing. Just like the former devotee I mentioned, who walked into the cloud. And now, the money, 4,000 rupees, never came back. He went to Baba. Baba told, let us have nothing to do with the 4,000 rupees. It is gone from you. Because that lady did lots of wrong things. The Muslim Parda lady was doing lots of unagreeable things, and Baba was watching everything. 2 or 3 years later, Jayakar found out that she lost all her health. She went into chapter 11. Ever since the pictures, ever since this paduka, Jayakar developed a lot of faith. I brought in very simple reasons. Jayakar also had a very crumbling home in the city of Pune. For some time he lived in Pune because the ancestral property, the house was dilapidated, the walls were crumbling, there was a lot of dust. So he put a small sheet below the ceiling that covered the walls also. The sheet was very light sheet, and the walls were all made of mud. And that was a good home. He had a lamp burning there, and his own 1-year-old child was sleeping there. He had 4 children. This is the last one, therefore, is 1-year-old. And therefore, at about 2 o'clock in the night, the whole cloth, there was a thud. He was sleeping in the only other room. The child was sleeping. There was a big thud. The cloth with all the debris came down. With the wall and all these stones, bricks, it came down. And then it fell just 4 feet from the child. It avoided the lamp, only lamp, and the child. He could see all these things are happening. Easily it could have, the child could have died. The lamp would have, got the whole home under, fire. None of these things happened. So he went on getting all these things. This happened in 1917. So he started coming to Shirdi more often. Baba even said, just like he said to R.B. Purandare, don't come here. Your home, I'm living there in Bandra. In Bandra, next to your home, in a small temple. Don't come home. That's your Shirdi. Don't come here. He told Jayakar also, you paint my picture. First he remonstrated saying, why do you paint my picture? You paint Shama's picture. I'm a poor fakir. Finally, they got him to acquiesce for the picture, and therefore you see the Dwarakamayi picture today in Shirdi. There were so many experiences for this wonderful gentleman. Once they even did Satyanarayan Puja in where? In Dwarakamayi, in the masjid. When doing the Satyanarayan Puja, our Jayakar was sitting next to Shirdi Baba. On the other side was Shama and Malsapati, and he made him sit there. And there was a big confusion going on in Jayakar's mind. Can I sit here alongside of Shirdi Sai? I have a lot of faith in him. I am not his equal. He is above all human beings. He is God to all of us. So many people treated him like God until, he went away from the world. He became an astral body these days. And at the time, Shirdi Baba said, Jayakar, ab udhar jao. You go down and sit down in the Sabha Mandap. They were all sitting above, in front of the Dhoni. You go and sit in the Sabha Mandap and next to that homam. Baba can read your mind. Even today, because Baba has given me a siddhi, I do that job. But then the job he was doing in reading all your thoughts was humongous. I just read your thoughts. I think of him and all thoughts come before me, dance before me. But he was doing it with every people. Because I read your thoughts, I am able to see whether you have developed Shraddha. Right? There are devotees after devotees who meet with me. I told you the Austin devotee. I have other devotees, extraordinary devotees. But then there is always a challenge. There is always a challenge of questions about this faith. Right? Even India's political leaders do not have enough faith in all the temples they build. If they build Ram Mandir, the new Ram Mandir in Ayodhya, if you really have faith in Lord Rama, you would come to know, he would show you the aggression that you are going to have on India's northeast. Remember for a moment, think for a moment, how is uncle knowing all these things, future Chinese aggression and all that? I have never worked for CIA. Neither do I have friends in CIA or FBI or CBA. These things comes out of enormous blessings of your Sadguru. This Sadguru, if you come close, just through one puja every month, third Saturday, he will give you the same powers. The CEOs who came to know this truth. I once upon a time was talking to 7 or 8 CEOs, 3 in India. One of the CEOs in India, he became CEO in a matter of 18 months. He was an ordinary junior manager living in Mumbai. Today he is a CEO in Pune. You know him, we met with him. Several challenges. Because his faith was growing, his Shraddha was so high. He has been a Shirdi Baba devotee. His daughter's name is Shraddha. She is an MBBS MD. He had several experiences. I am not going into any of the experience because it's already an hour, right? This steel executive is another classic example, the then example. And some of the people who lose faith or the people who achieved everything, they think in their thought, we have achieved everything. We are CFO. I have achieved everything. There is nothing more to achieve until you get that phone call from Mumbai. So, you have not achieved nothing. If you feel you don't have any faith at all, it's a genuine feeling. You may have tons and tons of faith. The gentleman I talked about, he has enormous faith today because he sees the spouse's enormous progress. She has already left him and gone into the cloud platform, I told you, right? So he has to follow her into the cloud. He has got other questions. He has to come to Mama. Mama, can we build a home like this? In Atlanta, in the cloud, Mama? Will tornado come and affect us? He will have all these doubts. Genuine doubts, they are. So, in order to get from the clubbing of doubts, you should have strong Shraddha. Steel executive is not in touch with me because from a junior manager, he has become a steel executive. In a meeting, he was sitting next to the MD, the chairman of the board of directors. He was looking, hey, aap idhar kaise hain? How are you here? I am Pune Steel Plant's CEO. He didn't believe, but he was CEO. These are all real incidents. You have to pinch him and then say, I am CEO, don't pinch me. So, this kind of experiences going on in New Jersey, in New York, in Mumbai, in Hyderabad. The other name for India is Hyderabad. In India, it is going everywhere. Another devotee, young devotee, only 26, she's achieving so much in this country, in Houston, because right from the first email, she developed enormous faith. She goes to interviews. When people call her for interviews, she gets a job. When she wants, she says no. India is her backyard. She goes to India under pretext only she understands. My nani is not well. My nani wants this particular batura, chole batura. She goes from here and makes the chole batura and comes back. When she goes to India, she's bogged down by some other issues surrounding the relatives. So she sends me. Mama is easily accessible, right? Email after email. Her family is an email family. I get very interesting emails. Some of them are written in fabulous English language. I can't tell the devotee's name. Her English is fabulous. I enjoy reading twice, thrice. She'll be doubting, Mama never sees the email. Because your English language, because of your faith, your English shows the faith. It comes through. It reverberates in your language. Therefore, I know you are a faithful person. Your husband, her husband never had faith, and suddenly he found faith. All the way from Columbus, Ohio to Texas, somewhere in between he found faith. Because in her family, everybody is faithful. One of the grandsons of one of the sisters, whose son studying here, he found faith. He found faith in cricket. He found faith in a very tough boss. He found faith in not the lottery, not choosing him for the H-1B visa. Even there he found faith. That is a tough young man. He comes to the puja, every puja. Is he sitting here somewhere around? I'm talking to Mika. Mika doesn't know him. I'm just talking to that. This is where I chose, Baba gives me the topic, this particular topic. I have other devotees, one-liners, but then we will do the puja. Please get ready for the puja. And this puja is very powerful. Let us finish it and then you can go for the faith. You can go for the prasad, right? Prasad. Om Sri Sai, Sri Sai Nadaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Sri Lakshmi Narayana Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Krishna Rama Siva Maruti Yati Rupaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Sesha Sai Ne Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Godavari Tata Shiladi Vasine Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Bhakta Hridaylaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Sarva Hridaya Vasine Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Buddha Vasine Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Buddha Vasaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Buddha Bhavishya Pava Varjitaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Kalaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Kala Kalaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Kalatitaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Kala Darpa Damanaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Mrityunjayaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Amartyaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Sarvadaraya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Martya Abhaya Pradaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Jivadaryaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Sarvadaraya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Bhaktavana Samarthaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Bhaktavana Pradiknyaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Annavastradaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Arogyakshemadaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Dhanamangalya Pradaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Riddhi Siddhidaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Riddhi Siddhidaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Putra Mitra Kalatra Bandhudaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Yoga Shema Vahaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Apad Bandhavaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Marga Bandhave Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Priyaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Priyaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Preeti Vardhanaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Antaryamine Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Sachidatmane Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Nityanandaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Paramasugataya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Parameshwaraya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Parabrahmane Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Parameshwaraya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Jnana Swarupine Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Jagadapitreya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Bhaktanam Matrudatru Pitamahaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Bhakta Abhaya Pradaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Bhakta Paradinaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Bhakta Anugraha Kataraya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Saranagada Vatsalaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Bhakti Sakti Pradaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Jnana Vairagyadaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Hridaya Granthi Bedagaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Karmadvamsine Namaha. Sutta Sasvastidaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Gunadita Gunatmane Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Gunadita Gunatmane Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Ananta Kalyana Gunaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Amita Parakramaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Jaine Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Amita Parakramaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai, Durdarsha Shobhaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Aparajitaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Trilekeshwa Vigata Gataye Namaha. Om Sri Sai Sarva Sakti Murtaye Namaha. Om Sri Sai Swarupa Sundaraya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Sulokshanaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Bahiruba Vishwamurtaye Namaha. Om Sri Sai Arubhavyaktaye Namaha. Om Sri Sai Arubhavyaktaye Namaha. Om Sri Sai Ashintaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Sushmaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Sushmaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Sarvantaryamine Namaha. Om Sri Sai Manovagatitaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Prema Murtaye Namaha. Om Sri Sai Sulabhadurlabhaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Asahaya Sahayaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Anadanada Dina Bandhave Namaha. Om Sri Sai Sarva Bharaptate Namaha. Om Sri Sai Akarmaneka Karma Sukarmine Namaha. Om Sri Sai Satam Gataye Namaha. Om Sri Sai Vasudevaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Bhavana Nagaya Namaha. Satparayanaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Loganadaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Amrutamsave Namaha. Om Sri Sai Amrit Amsave Namaha. Om Sri Sai Bhaskara Prabhavaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Brahmacharya Tapasaryadi Suvrataya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Satya Dharma Parayanaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Siddheshwaraya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Siddha Shankalpaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Siddha Shankalpaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Siddha Shankalpaya Namaha. Yogeshwaraya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Bhagavate Namaha. Om Sri Sai Bhaktavatsalaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Satpurushaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Purushottamaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Satyadattva Bodhagaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Kamadi Sadvairi Dvamsine Namaha. Apedanandanubhava Pradaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Samasarvamata Sammataya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Sri Sai Venkatesa Ramanaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Venkatesa Ramanaya Namaha. Atpudananda Saryaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Samarasa Shanmarga Sthapanaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Prabannarthi Haraya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Sarvavid Sarvato Mukaya Namaha. Sarvantar Bahistidaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Sarva Mangalagaraya 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 Namaha. Om Sri Sai Samarasa Shanmarga Sthapanaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Samartha Sadguru Sai Nadaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Sai Nadaya Namaha. Sri Sai Nadaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Sri Anantakoti Brahmanda Nayaga Rajadiraja Yogi Raja Parabrahma Sri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj ki jai. Sri Sainath Maharaj ki jai. For the newcomers, the next 1 minute is a silent prayer. This 1 minute, more than the millions of minutes you have spent in your life, will develop your Shraddha. This 1 minute will develop your Shraddha. That is the guarantee coming from Shirdi Baba.
शिर्डी माझे पंढरपूर साई बाबा रमावर साई रमावर साई बाबा रमावर शुद्ध भक्ती चंद्र भागा भाव पुंडलिक जागा भाव पुंडलिक जागा याहू याहू अवघे जन करा बाबासी वंदन साईसी वंदन करा बाबासी वंदन गणू म्हणे बाबा साई धाव पाव माझे आई धाव पाव माझे आई.
ॐ साई नमो नमः. श्री साई नमो नमः. जय जय साई नमो नमः. सद्गुरु साई नमो नमः. ॐ साई नमो नमः. श्री साई नमो नमः. जय जय साई नमो नमः. सद्गुरु साई नमो नमः.
ॐ साई नमो नमः. श्री साई नमो नमः. जय जय साई नमो नमः. सद्गुरु साई नमो नमः.
ॐ साई नमो नमः. श्री साई नमो नमः. जय जय साई नमो नमः. सद्गुरु साई नमो नमः.
ॐ साई नमो नमः. श्री साई नमो नमः. जय जय साई नमो नमः. सद्गुरु साई नमो नमः.
साई नमो नमः. श्री साई नमो नमः. जय जय साई